founders. My name is Nick McFly and I'll be your host. Before we get started, please send a plus in the chat if you can hear and see me clearly. Hopefully you hear me and see me. Excellent. We're here today as part of Growly, a vibrant community of founders, entrepreneurs, and innovators. Our mission at Growly is to create a space where founders can grow, learn, and exchange expertise. We believe that collaboration and shared knowledge are the keys to true growth. We're committed to providing you with practical, actionable information. That's why we'll compile a guide after every presentation and share it with you. This way you can immediately implement these insights and strategies you've learned. And today we have an exciting lineup of speakers who will share their expertise on 4 amazing B2C and B2B marketing topics in the Web3 space. So make sure to stay with us till the end. Let's dive in. Our first guest is Andryunin, CEO of Gotbit hedge fund. He will discuss navigating the token listing journey, prepare your Web3 project for success. Alex?
Thank you, Nick, and so happy to be here, and thank you for this opportunity. So we start now, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Can you provide a brief background on Gotbit hedge fund and its journey so far?
Yeah, sure. So what is Gotbit hedge fund? We are one of the largest market makers in the Web3 in terms of assets under management. Right now, we manage $1.3 billion. Pure crypto, started 2017, and our main focus and our main philosophy is to help Web3 founders get funding and change the world. Yeah, so I'm starting right now, yeah, with my presentation. So today, guys, we will speak about TGE and everything before and why it's very important. For newcomers here, what is TGE? TGE is token generation event. To be precise, it's the moment when the token of the new project is listed or will be listed on a centralized or decentralized exchange first time. And our plan for today, for my presentation and our communication with you is to discuss what is pre-TGE, what is the main points to focus during the pre-TGE period, what typical mistakes usually Web3 founders are doing during the pre-TGE, and also what makes some projects to win during the TGE and what makes other projects to lose. So firstly, let's go a little bit back and figure out the journey of Web3 startup. I want to say that TGE and everything about it, it's only acceptable for projects with token, so token based. So now we are talking only about token based utility projects in crypto. And usually the journey for such projects start from some idea, then core team development, then of course some MVP, then maybe small round of friends, family, fools, and early supporters, early adopters. Some other venture funds are joining. Also, of course, community start growing because all Web3 projects are based on the communities. And then TG is coming. And the last one is the goal to make like 100 something X on the token price after successful listing on good centralized and decentralized exchanges. And as a Gotbit from 2017, I think we launched around 300 projects at the TGE and doing market making and supporting and providing liquidity after TGE, and understand really deep what makes some projects to win, what makes others to lose, and how project and founders and C-level team can build huge pre-TGE strategy and how it can gain more access during the project token listing and attract more investors to the secondary markets, and at the end of the day, how to become like successful Web3 project launch on centralized and decentralized exchanges. Just a second. Yeah. So usually pre-TGE period, it's 2-3 months before project's token will be listed on exchanges. And it's really like 24/7 hard work. And the founders team and the C-level, they should be focused on community, on marketing, on business development, on funding, opening strategy. Also need to get listed on good exchanges. Also, it's very important to build narrative around the token. And today with you, we will go through the real cases and our hedge fund experience of each stages of this pre-TG, and share some tips, some knowledge about that. So here is the focus. What should be team of the project focused on? And I wanted to highlight 3 main things. First thing, it's about business development, and it's about connections. Usually, it's like a ping pong between centralized exchanges, top venture funds, and also launchpads and IDOs for the project. So it looks like that. If you are the founder, or you maybe already know it, or you will like face it in the future, you go to some centralized exchange like KuCoin, like OKX, like Bybit, top level, and start negotiation about listing there, initial listing. And they say, oh, okay, guys, you're an amazing project, good traction, huge community, but please tell us which launchpads. Launchpad is ideal platform like DAOmaker and others already signed for your project. You say, oh, we don't have now, maybe we will sign them in the future. And then exchange is telling you that, no, let's hold on, let's wait till you will be signed with top launchpads. Then you go to launchpads like DAOmaker, like Pools, like Engine Starter, CDFI, and others, and start negotiating with them. And they ask you, oh, what kind of exchange you signed already? And it's like a ping pong or like chicken egg problem. For most of like 90% of projects are preparing for TG. And now I want to share with you how to solve this problem, and how you really easy mechanic how to solve it. The mechanic consists of 2 parts. First part is about like to build the stairs step by step of exchanges to get listed. You should not go to KuCoin or Binance like from the scratch. Start from smaller exchange, like get approved by MXC or like lower tier exchange like BitGet, something like that. It's very easy to get approval. You should not pay them listing fee. You should just get like a soft commitment of the listing there. Then when you get this, when you receive this soft commitment, make a step forward, go to like bigger exchange like Gate.io or Bybit and work with them. And you come to them with already pre-approved commitment from lower exchanges, lower tier exchanges. And also second secret here is advisory board. Because we are talking now about token-based projects, you have a lot of token supply you can allocate for advisors. And advisors should not be just the guys who have experience in your project area in Web3. So like advisors should be the guys who can open your doors. And second secret here is to sign real good advisors who can call exchanges C-level, who can come to Bybit meeting or to KuCoin meeting with you, and KuCoin or Bybit listing team should know them, and they will negotiate it here and say, yeah, this project, your project is huge, you already signed with lower tier exchange, you have good community and also strong advisory board, and then bigger and bigger level, higher and higher level exchanges will sign with you. We used this strategy for a lot of projects and it worked out really pretty well. And then only after you sign top exchanges, you should go to launchpads. Usually founders, they are making mistake. They firstly go to launchpad and then go into exchanges because like it's logical. Because of course, firstly you need to sign like public round, IDO, and then listings. But from our experience, the most successful projects, they firstly sign exchanges. And the best case, of course, is when exchange invested in your project, like a venture arm. And only after that, they go to launchpad to secure real top launchpads for their projects. Second chapter and second point to focus for the project during the pre-TG period, it's a narrative. The narrative is like the answer for three main questions. Who will buy your token after it will be listed on centralized exchanges? So not from the round, not from the public round or private round, from the real market, from the opening. Why they will buy, and who will explain to community, to traders, why they should buy. It's very important, because as a project or as a founders or as a level team, you should not, and probably in some countries it's also illegal, to shield your project to community from your own account or from your project account. So that's why it's very important to build the strategy and the narrative. When I'm talking about the narrative, I mean like explanation why people should join, should buy a token. And when it's the explanation, it should be like real reasonable thing why your token will grow higher and higher after the opening, and what will be like the main demand drivers to your market. I can share two tips here we use all the time. Tip number one is comparing your project to your competitor with a larger, like 10x plus larger market cap. For instance, if you are building metaverse, metaverse project, one of the main competitors is a sandbox, and your initial market cap at the opening after the TG will be like $10 million or like $20 million, but sandbox market cap is 1 billion. So it means that you have upside up to 100x or 50x to compare your project with sandbox. Of course, it doesn't mean that your project should make market cap same as sandbox just because you make this, just because you are comparing them. But it's a good reason to explain to people, to traders on the centralized exchanges, why they should buy now before real demand and a real adoption of your project will come to the market. And second trick and second tip here is about highlighting your utilities of your project, utilities of your token, in the way of how they will like bring demand and like bring buy pressure to the market. Usually projects, they make mistakes. We will talk about it a little bit later. Mistake like they just announce their listing. They just say, yeah, we will be listed on exchanges tomorrow, guys, please come to buy. And then they announce some like, we are launching our staking application, our farming application. Please welcome to join our market. You can stake your tokens for 20% APY or something like that. But the real thing here is about, you should explain to people how your utilities will drive real demand to the market. For example, it could be like this. You are launching some social fi application and you already have like 10,000 registrations or 10,000 daily or monthly active users. And then you can count them, like 10% of these active users will use some of your paid feature and or will make like average 7 paid transactions per month. And then you are using this number to put it into the tokenomics and like say, from this 10%, like 1,000 users, they will make 7 paid transactions per month. It will gain like each transaction $7. We will get $70,000 per month organic demand to the market for our token. And this is amazing explanation for traders why they should buy now before your token will start working and before your utilities will work on the market. So, and the main secret here is that you should not explain it from your own accounts. There are people in crypto, they call like KOLs, key opinion leaders. Most like 3 main social media they use, it's Twitter, Telegram, and YouTube. And you should use them and you should pick them right. So it's also where advisors should help you pick right KOLs, and through your KOLs network, explain how utilities of your token works, why you should gain more and more traction, and why your market cap will grow. So this is what about narrative, and let's move forward. And the last third chapter, it's closer to TG, it's closer to your listing. It's about opening strategy. Opening strategy is a strategy how you should trade, probably with your market maker or with some proper trading team, your first day, first hour, first 5 minutes, and first week after token will be listed. This is very important. And why it's very important? Because by our experience in Gotbit hedge fund, usually average project in crypto has just two real like hype moments and like huge FOMO in the market. First one is during the first listing, during the TG, and second one is after the project found go to market and strong product market fit and like adoption. And I'm sure that first moment happening for all projects, because each project has listing, has TG, but I know a lot of projects, they never reached second hype, because all of projects in crypto are startups. Even after token launch, it's still startup, and it's still very hard to get real traction, to get real product market fit. And it's okay, it's fine. We are all in this high risk industry, but that's why it's very important to use the first moment, your TG moment and your opening. And what we recommend, firstly, funding. When you come into TG, you should focus on, we call them like last call investors. It's like venture funds and angels. They want to invest like 1 month before TG, after you already secure your coin listing or some good launchpad listings. You can like keep some allocation. And at that point, you should not just let them invest for money. You should find real smart money, people who can not only invest, but also advise, open doors, etc. Secondary, it's very important. Usually projects, especially like middle caps, they're making mistakes that they think money they're raising from public round, from IDO, is like fundraising money. But the truth is that 99% of launchpads of IDO platforms, they have refundable policy. And refundable policy, it's about supporting price at same on the market as a public listing, like a public round price. And usually all money project gained during the public round, they spend just to put support at the public round price after the opening. So money from public round, it's not your money, it's money to support your market. And also public round, it's not about fundraising, it's more about marketing. That's why it's better to get just DAO Maker or DAO Maker plus CDFI or CDFI plus Polka Starter, and not getting like 10 different no names launchpads. So launchpad, it's more about marketing, and launchpad, it's about attract traders to your market after it will be listed. And also very big mistake is for the projects which are not allocating some % of supply for market makers. You should keep it in your mind when you are developing your tokenomics, because market maker needs some supply to manage your market. And during discussion opening strategy, I will explain why. So opening strategy, it's a strategy about first 5-10 minutes and then first 24 hours after listing of your token. And here we need to discuss claim window. And here, guys, it's real inside information. Not a lot of people in crypto can share it. So usually when your token maybe you invested during the public round on some launchpad is going to listing, there is like a claim window. What is claim window? Claim window is a time between token will be listed on exchange and people on launchpads can claim it. And usually this claim window is between 5 minutes to 10 minutes. And also there are some period during the community will send tokens to exchange, confirmations in blockchain, exchange will put it to the balances on accounts. So usually by our experience, it's from 5 to 15 minutes when the first paper hands who want to sell their tokens immediately after project will be listed, will be ready with tokens on exchange. And these first 5 to 15 minutes are the most important part, what projects should focus during the opening, because this is period when all investors are locked. Everyone is locked, public round is locked, no one get tokens, and project can work only with buyers. And real successful projects, winners, are the projects who can get a lot of buy pressure during this claim window and get good traction on the project, like 5x, 10x, 15x price during these 5-10 minutes, and also use it by pressure to gain some money, to sell some tokens into the market, and then put it to the support at the lower level. This is very important. And for instance, in our hedge fund, we're using quantitative research strategy to predict levels where project price could go, and not only price management, but also liquidity. So at what levels, how much buy and sell liquidity we will have in the market. And this is one of the main secrets. So claim window and how to use claim window, it's very important for founders and of course for market makers they are working with. And also now, it was a secret, by the way. So, and also now we have still 2 minutes, so I'm going a little bit faster about mistakes. So top mistakes for projects during the pre-TG and TG moment. First mistake is loaning market makers from TG. So loaning market maker is like a GSR or Wintermute. It's market makers who get some % of your supply, like for call option from your side. But loaning market maker strategy is to dump tokens into the market at any price and then buy them back after the huge correction. So usually we never recommend projects to get loaning market makers first 3 months after TG, because this is the most like sweet part of the period of the project, because all investors are locked and there is only market maker in the market. And when you sign it with loaning market maker, you as a founder or C-level have no control of your token market making strategy. This is the main problem here. Second mistake is anti-snipe protection. So sniper attack is the attack when you get listed not on centralized exchange, but on decentralized exchange like Uniswap, PancakeSwap. And there are some guys called snipers who can really steal like 100K, 2, 3, 500K from your liquidity after you provided liquidity into the liquidity pool. And it's very important to get anti-snipe protection. Usually in the market, it costs like 5, 10K, but it's really reasonable to spend it. Not build a narrative, already explained why it's important. Also, big mistake is to pay to KOLs in your tokens or USDT. So you should build such huge narrative and get good exchanges to let KOLs invest in your project. They should have skin in the game, and then they will promote you with double speed and double power. Also, big mistake is to get a lot of tokens to centralized exchanges, because as I explained before, this is a claim window. It will be fully ruined, totally ruined, if you get to centralized exchanges unlocked tokens at the TG, because during the time, all guys from public round will claim their tokens and send to exchanges. Exchange already will have some tokens to sell and they will ruin your opponent. And of course, one of the huge mistakes I see in the crypto, it's like founders, they say, yeah, we now go to some shit exchange or to Uniswap listing because we have money to pay, but we think that we will get traction and Qcoin and Binance will list us for free in 3 months or 6 months or something like this. This is also a big mistake because, as I explained earlier, the listing and TG, it's one of the biggest or one of the largest FOMO effect for project. And if you get during this period only decentralized exchange, you get way lower user base of traders who will trade your tokens, so you get lower attention, and of course you will get lower buy pressure to your market. And the last, sorry, just a second, the last point here is what makes different winners to losers. So firstly, it's of course business development, it's these exchanges and these launch pads. Secondary, winners create huge narrative, and here I put a few projects which get real good narrative. So Tenant was a layer 1 blockchain, amazing narrative during the opening. Suipad, to be honest, tier 2 project, but they get listed immediately after Sui will be listed, and they get huge narrative like the first launch pad on Sui, get it more than 10x, I think. And Aptos launch, same strategy as Suipad, but on Aptos. So this is why narrative is very important. And of course, quantitative research. So using quantitative research, you will know with math where to sell and where to buy tokens during the opening. This is also very important. And thank you for your time, guys. And I recommend you, if you will launch your token, work only with professionals. So again, our hedge fund, assets under management, 1.3 billion, and we are doing around 10 TGEs per month. So huge experience and expertise on top of our fingers. And thank you for this opportunity, Nick, to tell about our experience.
Yeah, thank you so much, Alex, for that super insightful presentation. We're all now better prepared to navigate the token listing journey, and your practical advice, hacks, and secrets will no doubt guide many of our members towards success. And here is a question coming from one of our attendees. Sultan is interested in understanding more about the claim period. Alex, he asks, how do you create qualitative prediction models during the claim period? Could you shed some light on this?
Yeah, sure. So it's about quantitative research. What we are doing consists of three parts. First part, it's about find similar projects with a similar setup for the opening. Setup is market phase, exchanges, and launch pads. So like we try to find similar setup of other projects which were launched like last 3 months. And also by our hedge fund, we have a lot of launches, so we can find real similar projects and check what's happening with them by 1 minute time frame chart. Secondary, what we are doing is tokenomics, of course. So we are trying to analyze, to make analysis around the tokenomics and understand who will sell, who are paper hands, who will hold probably, and it's also important. And also important is how large percent of public round will be unlocked. So for example, if it's like 25% of public round unlocked on TG, it means that it's unreasonable for people to sell lower than 4x, because people want to cover, investors want to cover their money they invested, so they can cover it only higher than 4x. So it's also important. And the last thing about the claim window, it's less about analysis, more about action. So when we're doing the opening, we do a lot of on-chain analysis. So we check in all wallets of exchanges, centralized exchanges, to understand money flow in. And also we are checking volumes during the opening on 1 second chart to understand how market is reacting to this token right now.
Got it. Thank you. There are no more questions right now, so thank you again for sharing insights.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, appreciate, Alex, for your valuable contributions. Now, let's keep the momentum going. I'm sure everyone is eager for more nuggets of wisdom to help grow their enterprises. So this is why we're thrilled to introduce our next speaker. Our next guest is another industry expert who's going to share his unique experience and insights. I'm pleased to introduce Alexey Sukharev, the Chief Business Development Officer at Metalamp. He's going to talk about maximizing ROI from Web3 events, life hacks for income generation. We encourage everyone to stay engaged, listen closely, and take notes, ask questions, as Alexey has wealth of knowledge to share. So without further ado, over to you, Alexey.
Thanks for the intro, Nick. Hi there. Glad to see so many people here. By the way, do you hear me and see me well? Please let me know using the comment section in YouTube, using chat. So just a few comments will be enough, I guess.
Hear you.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
So we've got today pretty tough time frames. So I think I'm gonna speak very fast, but hopefully it will be interesting and useful for you. So today we're talking more and more about decentralization. In many ways, it erases the borders. So we all constantly communicate with other people from Web3 space, from different countries of the world. We speak the same language with them, and we feel that we belong to this ever-growing blockchain tribe. But no matter how our online business develops with online colleagues and partners available from everywhere in the world, anyway, according to our human nature, there is no more effective way to establish a business connection than a live offline meeting, because it's our human chemistry, it's our human nature. That's why, despite the presence of really great online events, such as, for example, this one, right? We still don't forget to periodically go to offline conferences, to attend Web3 offline events, to meet people, learn a lot from new things, and of course, to sell. I think that people who go on business trips for a conference in another country just to listen to others, just to get some new knowledges, they are no more than 5%. The remaining 95% are the people who go to sell. Someone goes to sell an idea in search of partners and investors, right? Some others, they go to sell services of their company and search for the customer. Some others, they sell their personal competences as an applicant or consultant, for example. And some are selling the image of success and progressiveness of their company. But anyway, it's your show that you are selling on. So how exactly, in what role, being a speaker or just standing with a booth or having maybe 15 or even 20 meetings per day with other guests of the conference, these are already the details, but the essence is the same. You do sell. So despite all the digitalization, decentralization, and it would seem a complete shift to online, we still strive for some kind of meeting centralization. So we go to offline events, and we want to have as many effective personal meetings as possible. And for this, we go for international Web3 offline events as well. By the way, we please, the second slide, please. By the way, we checked some marketing researches, and we found out that according to Markletic research, 57% of all respondents, they prefer offline. May I please ask the organizers to switch to second slide, please? Yeah, thank you. So there are really some researches, some marketing researches made, and we see that 57% of respondents prefer offline events. Of course, taking into account the fact that the entire cycle of work with a specific event actually takes 8 or even 10 times more on average than the physical 2 or 3 days of the conference itself. We incur large energy and time costs. So each of us professionals knows how much our time is worth, right? And how important it is to pay back, to recoup, especially when we put so much effort into something, for example, into visiting Web3 event. Plus, no one has yet canceled such boring and unpleasant things as visas, buying tickets, hotel reservations, and some additional expenses, in addition to the main expense item, the cost of your time. So the next slide, please. So today we'll talk a bit about how to increase the chance that your next business trip will not only bring you pleasure, but also pay for itself by providing increased ROI and revenue from each new connection. And of course, after my speech, I'll be happy to answer all your questions. So I guess there will be no rocket science here in my speech. I will just share with you something that I used myself and what helped me achieve $1 million revenue per year in the field of custom blockchain development. So I'm sure that many of you here have pretty extensive experience in business and sales, right? So and that's why what I will share is by no means instructions, not advice for sure. These are just only things from my experience in which I hope you're going to find something useful. You can onboard if you wish. Yeah, so let me briefly introduce myself. And by the way, while I'm talking about myself, please just write briefly in comment section in the chat, write how many conferences have you attended, and did you attend the conferences? How many of them was there within a year, let's say? Just curious and very interesting. So just a few words about myself. I'm Alexey Sukharev. I'm CBDO of blockchain development studio Metalamp. I've got 18 years personal experience in sales. The funny thing is that I'm 36 years old, so I can say that I can say directly that half of my life I've been doing some sales. So it was some sales experience in B2B businesses, and then I had my own consulting business and a few startups where I was a founder and co-founder. So being in Web3 space, since June last year, I attended a few international conferences and events in Istanbul, in Paris, in Amsterdam, in Berlin, in Lisbon. So and I'm going to talk about my experience from there. By the way, you got to know me a bit, and I'll be glad to get to know you too. So while I'm giving you many words here, please give me a few words in comment section. It would be highly appreciated. because it's really interesting for me to know the audience and to get a bit closer to you guys. So, talking about the events that I attended, those were events of absolutely different formats. But it seems that I managed to identify some common patterns and some common stuff, and found the way to make those completely different trips effective. Yeah. By the way, we can switch to another slide. I'm gonna show you some funny thing as an example how to make your business trip effective. Just a second. I hope you will see that. Okay. So that's on this slide, you can see, if you see some experience of my here, you can see some of my experience of from my business trip to Paris. It was pretty funny situation when I was attending the conference, the Ethereum week in Paris last year. I was just absolutely tired and exhausted walking in the center of Paris along the Seine, and I came close to Notre Dame de Paris square, and I saw the street musician playing the guitar, and I just suddenly started singing along, and we had some chat and a bit talk, and he asked if I play guitar and sing. So I said yeah, and he asked me to sing some songs. And I was singing my son's favorite song from Ozzy Osbourne. It's called Dreamer. And suddenly I saw the people putting some points in the head of this guy. So that's how you can recoup. You can cover part of your expenses while being on a business trip, I guess. So okay, so getting back to our talk, I think. Enough introduction words. Let's go a bit deeper in the topic. So we can switch to the next slide. And first of all, let's talk briefly about the common mistakes that I've seen. I wanted to share it with you guys. Common mistakes in terms of preparation and action during the conferences. So the first is lack of preparation, because some of the people, they think, I'm an experienced attender of events, I'm doing that for many years, I'll do everything at the venue. But you know, to be honest, on my personal experience, I can say that at least 80% effectiveness goes away with such approach, because of course the preparation is very important, and we'll talk a bit about this a bit later. Long and boring scripts, for example, when you try to have the interest from the first touch from the audience, from other attendees, and you are writing huge messages to them, you know that of course we understand that nobody's going to read the huge and overselling messages. And random encounters with how do you do approach. For example, when you come to the conference, the most effective way to have a meeting is to have a scheduled meeting, right? Not just random. And starting to sell and to brag at first meeting, usually it doesn't lead to success, because the venue, the conference is not the place where the contract is signed, is not the place where you get funded. So those times, they are back in 2021, right? But not now for sure. And long meetings exhausting the person, and of course not solidifying a contact with a selfie and chat, or when you talk to person, for example, you've got too many contacts and the contact might just get lost. So, and making lazy and weak follow-ups, of course, as you know, I see sometimes that BDMs, they are not very active after the as they say, after the show, right? So they prepare, for example, they are active at the event itself, but for example, if they don't use active follow-ups after, so all the work can be done in vain. As you know, as Jack Nicholson said in famous movie called Departed, you gotta take everything yourself. So nobody's gonna write you, nobody's gonna call you after. So that's the thing. If you sell, that means automatically that you are doing this thing and you are making the follow-ups. And yeah, we can go to the next slide, I guess. So I'm not going to talk more on conference attendance formats. I think many of you have seen different ones. So the thing is that event attendance formats, they may differ depending on the purpose, on your style, on the scale of the event itself. And I think it would be pretty stupid from my side to say that one format can be something better than another. Of course not, because we are too different, right? But in any case, what we are going to talk about here, it should be relevant for any of those formats, because each of them involves what? Involves personal meetings. So you can go to conference as a guest. You can go to conference as exhibitor with your own booth. As a speaker, as a sponsor, for example, you can focus on side events, which usually take place around the main venue. And you can choose tactics. I sit on the couch at the hotel lobby and without going to the main venue, and everybody comes to the couch and talks to me. So, and you can use mixed formats, of course, as being, for example, as a speaker, or invite one of the speakers from your partner's network or your colleagues, and simultaneously to do some active sales work, and or you can just organize as well some roadshow. But anyway, it's up to you. I think that the things that we will be discussing, they are relevant for all of those cases. For me personally, I prefer guest and a speaker plus meetings formats, because I would say that it's pretty understandable and common to me. So it's pretty close to me, to my experience. Okay, so we can jump to the next slide. So actually there are three main vectors. First of all is preparation. Secondly, of course, it's action when you are in already, when you are attending the event itself. And thirdly, follow-ups after. So now we're going to talk a bit about preparation. So some people say that the proper preparation is already 50% of success of your business trip. Well, to be honest, I don't think it's true, because each stage, preparation, action, follow-ups, is equally important as the other stages. So I guess that it's not about 50%, but it's rather about 33% of success for sure. But still, the preparation is crucial, obviously. So what are the most important things to me to remember in terms of preparation? First of all, I understand that I need to get properly prepared, and the step number one is to learn as much information as possible, to study all the resources about this event, to read and to talk with the organizers team, to understand the audience, to listen and to hear, to see the comments of the guests of previous years' conferences. And of one more thing I would like to share to you, as I've seen, because I've been to different conferences, and there's one pattern that I saw. That if the conference has internal application, like internal app for networking for every guest, where you can tag some people, filter out those people by using tags, where you can get in touch with them. You can even schedule up the meetings, and you can book them in the calendar in this app. I would say that it's much more efficient than when, for example, the organizers doesn't do anything like that, and they only have big crazy chat with hundreds or even thousands of members, and you never know where's the like sudden scam and where's the real guest of the event, the real visitor. You never know, because, for example, the access is free. So yeah, for example, I always check when I get ready for the conference, and if I see that there is an internal app for visitors, for guests, that means that most probably this event will be considered by our company. And also, you should also, I think, take into consideration, at least I do, in terms of side events, because around the main venue there are so many interesting events, but we'll talk a bit later about that. So, and also a very important thing is to ask not about the venue, about the conference. If you ask not only organizers, but as well some guys that you trust from your partner network. For example, while getting prepared for this speech, just let's say some hours ago, I got the answer from my recent partner, Eugene Romanenko, whom I know for years. Because I'm now planning to go for some new conferences this summer, and I've got some kind of short list. And I asked him if he can give me any advices, if he knows the organizers and the speakers, and he can advise some things in terms of those exact names of the conferences. And I've got, I would say, full list of contacts with feedback, where to go or where not to go, or at least recommendation which person to talk to. So the funny thing is that, as you see, it works every day. So just literally when I was preparing this speech, I got very good feedback. So I'm using all these things constantly even now. Also, of course, you should understand the goal of your trip and your target audience. Of course, you should, for example, which is also very important, is to prepare for the short pitch, which answers the question: what am I doing, or what is my company doing? What is my unique selling proposition? What are my, let's say, key features? How can my company help to those who I'm going to meet? So, but it should be very brief. Of course, we do understand that it shouldn't be so long. And also, must-have thing in terms of preparation is a system. So I truly believe that it really helps a lot. I cannot even imagine the good proper preparation without a system. So, for example, you can have a system. It might be your colleague, it might be your partner, it might be your outsourcing assistant, for example. But the presence of assistant when you go to a business trip is must-have feature. We will talk about more on that a bit later. Also, of course, when we prepare the scripts, the text should be very short, but the thing is that you should filter out the people who might be the most interesting for you, who do look like your target auditory. And after that, after the first script standing, you're gonna do some follow-ups, and just confirming the meetings and building up the schedule. And also, which is also very important thing, as you may see here, I'm now wearing the T-shirt of rock band Kiss. I'm gonna say from my experience that this thing, I was wearing this thing on maybe 3 or 4 conferences, and few contracts that the company had after. It was partly because of this T-shirt, because when you are the sole guy in the whole venue who is wearing something unusual, the people they become a bit more open. They become a bit more open, and they become a bit more smiley. For example, one of my partners with whom I communicate and sharing some leads and knowledges and information, we have very good contact. He's a Brazilian guy. I met him in Istanbul. Do you know how we met him? I went to some side event in the evening, and I was wearing exactly this T-shirt. And he was just drinking beer at the bar, talking to some guys, and he said, "Oh man!" He looked at me and he said, "Oh man, you are listening to rock music as well," and started to sing, "I was made for loving you, baby," and so on. You know, the famous song of this famous rock band Kiss. So that's how we started, literally, and it really works. So it doesn't mean, of course, that you should wear some merch of rock stars, but the thing is that when you look in a bit unusual way, it does work, and it does give you some more chances to establish good connections. That should start from smile, I guess, not from very serious business talk. That's only my opinion again. So of course there are some other good advices, but I think we don't have time for all of them. Because of course this presentation will be shared with all of you guys here. So I think we can switch to another to the next slide. Yeah. So well, I guess talking about the action when you are already in, when you already have come to the venue, to the conference. I think this is just that's how pure hell looks in the eyes of introverts. Because it's absolutely, sometimes that means absolutely crazy, very tough schedule. And here I'm going to talk a bit. I'm going to give you some points from my experience on how what things might lead myself for effectiveness during the trip. So after each encounter, at the preparation stage, we already talked that we've got a schedule of meetings, and that's the best things. So usually, for example, when I go to conference, I have from 10 to 20 meetings per day during official part, and there's also a networking part. We're gonna talk a bit later about. So after each encounter, I constantly make selfie, and of course, I establish the contact in, for example, Telegram with the person I met, and I'm sending my this selfie, and I'm sending my name and the name of the company, the link for the company. So, and also, do you remember we talked about the assistant? So straight after the meeting, because I have only like maybe a few meetings before I meet the new person, and after that the new person, and etc. So I have just a few minutes break, and all I can do is send this selfie and create a audio message for my assistant, talking the most important points about the guy whom I met just 5 minutes ago. So I'm just giving the audio information, sending the selfie, and my assistant is putting this information into the table. And as you understand, by the end of the conference, I will have the table with many contacts, with photos, with information taken from my audio messages, and something like that. So, and of course, besides official part of the event, there are some random meetings sometimes, and it could work. It could work, but I would say that there's it's a kind of separate the whole separate topic. So if any of you needs any support, any advice from my side in terms of random meetings, how to act effectively to turn them into some contracts and some revenue, please let me know. You've got my contacts on first and second slide of this presentation. Please feel free to answer. I'm going to be happy to assist. So also what I wouldn't do is just I don't sell. You know, when I meet the person for the first time, I don't sell. I respect the time of interlocutor, of the guy whom I'm talking with. And usually I'm saying it's your show today. It's not my show. So let's just exchange the contacts and catch up within maybe 1 or 2 weeks after the event. So as I understand, you know, and as I feel, so the thing is that all you need to sell is just an interest for you and for your product and planned call. So that's all. Don't try to sell your company. Don't try to sell your ideas. You don't get funded. You know, you don't sign the contracts at the event. As I said a few years ago, this time has passed already. So when it comes to your short presentation, when you're talking about your product and your company, for example, I prefer focusing not on some technical things, not about stack or technical advantages, but on the problem of my of the person whom I'm talking with, on his task, his business task. Because, for example, our company Metalamp is about development, right? But when I meet the founder of startup on early stage, for example, instead of telling him how many developers we have, or which stack we have, I prefer talking like this. So just very briefly, we help Web3 startups on early stages to structure and to strengthen their idea. We help them create a technical description for building an MVP, and very fast checking the business hypothesis by creating an MVP to understand the further steps. So that's all. I won't sell anything to him. I won't talk more about that. And I would prefer to maybe to have a walk with him to see some Parisian streets and beautiful places of Lisbon, for example, rather than to talk about business there. But after, in 1 or 2 weeks, when I have a call with him, of course, I'm going to be glad to get him get him deeper on how we can help. So that's the thing. This is only my approach, of course, but I'm just sharing with you guys. I hope it's gonna be it might be useful for some of you, because as we mentioned before, every one of us attended the conferences. Most of us, I would say like this. Most of us, we sell something. Yeah, so we are searching for some people, and the idea, I guess, is just actually common. And it's not necessary to talk only about business issues. You can talk about some other stuff. It's very important to go not only to main part to the main part of event, to the main venue, but usually there are some side events even at night. And what's most important, yeah, at this slide you see my face, actually approximately my face when I first visited the conference, and I took a look into the whole program. Besides the main part, I was just literally shocked, because some parties and some restaurants, some karaoke clubs, or some venues, they are working 24 hours, and some meetups are organized literally in the night. So I'm pretty sure that some of you have got this experience, and you should be ready for that, because I would say that even at least 50% of the effective contacts, you are not making with wearing tie and looking very formal at the formal part of the event. But you may be just you may gather some good connections to drinking beer at the bar, for example. Why not? It works as well. So be ready for that, guys. And yeah, I think I should hurry up a bit. By the way, if you are interested in having the list of top Web3 international events of this year, I'm actually now looking at this list, getting prepared for my summer trips. So I would be happy to share. Just let me know. Again, you've got my contact. You've got the QR on the first and last slide. So please let me know. Okay. So we can switch to the next slide, I guess. So when you understand that the party is over, as they say, so after the event, it's really needed. For example, if you have this crazy schedule of which I'm talking now, let's say 15-20 meetings per day and night events and so on. Of course, you definitely need at least 1, 2, or 3 days just to recover after that. But it would be cool if you recover not alone, but with establish some kind of group of people who you met recently, maybe yesterday, maybe 2 days ago, and you just propose them to have a good walk and sightseeing and stuff like that. And yeah, also, of course, making follow-ups is also very important. But you should understand the time. For example, when the conference is over, I never send follow-ups in a few days. Minimum 1 week should pass. Minimum 1 week, and maximum 2 weeks. So it should be somewhere in between 1 week and 2 weeks. That's when it works the most in the most effective way, I guess. Again, I'm just sharing my experience. Maybe some of you guys might say something different, but I saw that after 2 weeks, it's not that warm already. But before 1 week, the person would not be ready, because he's got his own funnel of contacts, and he should dedicate some time for that as well. So yeah, well, I think I will not be describing each of those lines. So you can use this presentation, you can look through it, and as I said before, you always can count on my help. I'm going to ask you to switch on the next slide, and I think I'm going to finish up within a few minutes. So let me just give you a few words about my company very briefly. The company is called Metalamp, and we are international company. We've been operating as a service company for 9 years. We've got more than 60 employees, and 40 of them are developers. We help not startups, Web3 startups, but we help for the existing traditional things that are going Web3 for the first time. We're helping with front, with back, with blockchain development for businesses on different stages. So I've got very brief and very clear proposal for all attendees here. So thank you very much once again for listening to me here. And if you guys have your business and have any tasks related to development, for all visitors of this webinar, there's a free review of smart contract from our side and free consultation in terms of development within your project. So just let me know, you've got my contacts. So in the very end, I will afford myself only one small recommendation. When you meet people and communicate with them at events, be maximum sincere and natural. So after all, by default, we all in Web3 space, we have a desire for transparency and simplicity, right? Don't be afraid to show that you don't understand something. Ask again, smile, joke, discuss, not only work issues, by the way. Enjoy the communication at events, because any business is done by us, by real people, right? And we all need positive emotions. So share them with each others. And it's really easy because there are many inspiring, smart, and interesting people in Web3 space, right? We all know that. So, and when they meet, it's a great opportunity for monetization. So let's take it. So thank you guys for attention and your involvement. We've had pretty good time here. I look forward to staying in touch. So, and please, if you've got any questions, maybe I'm going to have a few minutes to answer.
Yep, that was a very informative presentation, Alexey. Your insights into maximizing our way from Web3 events have certainly provided us with new perspectives to consider. I'm sure everyone here today can't wait to put those life hacks into practice at their next meetups and conferences. For instance, wearing some unusual looks at conferences could make them more fun and positive. Thank you for sharing your expertise with us. And yeah, seems we have no questions right now, but the excitement does not stop here. We're now moving on to the next segment of our webinar. Our upcoming speaker is a powerful force in the Web3 space. Please welcome Valeriya Zaychuk, the CEO at VZIONER. She's going to enlighten us on strategic partnerships on how to do B2B to C. Let's keep our learning hats on as Valeriya shares her knowledge and experiences with us. Over to you, Valeriya.
Nick, thank you so much for a quick introduction. I'm very happy to see you all here. Everybody who will listen to this in the records, I also hope this bring value to your business. I'm Valeriya Zaychuk. I have a public fear of speaking, so if I make any mistakes, please forgive me. I really a practitioner. I do love to do my business development all my life behind the scene, and be upfront and talking about it is a new experience, but I truly enjoy going into new things, since business development is all about growing, developing yourself and your business through it. So today we're going to talk about, here we go, 1 second. Today we're going to talk about my favorite topic, which is B2B to C. Anybody is aware what does B2B stands for? Please share your knowledge. I know B2B, B2C, business to business, business to consumers. B2B to C is actually business to consumers. This is an amazing concept that I truly enjoy, because strategic partnerships, I believe, bring so much value than when you just do sales, doing B2B or B2C in different industries. So I didn't do my proper introduction, am I? But anyway, so let's jump into the presentation itself. I'm just a little bit freaked out talking to all of you. Anyway, I actually global business developer for the last 15 years, and I changed 6 different industries. I spent 7 years doing blockchain technology, helping building startups, unicorns, and growing them across the globe. And I genuinely believe business developers, they're not made to sell, but they're made to add value and create long-term relationships. And for that matter, strategic partnerships is like my second nature. I truly admire when both companies come together, add value to each other, to their customers, and actually, you know, have a win-win models to do business together. And that's what B2B2C is all about. Obviously, you know, if any of you have already have this model in your business, please comment below. I'm really curious, like who's already aware and who's already heavily using that methods by connecting with another partners to access bigger, larger audience or share your customers. So both your partner clients and your own clients can benefit from your collaborations. If you use that in your business, please send the comments below. I'm really curious to know who is already using that method. Usually the key benefits of B2B2C is expanding the market outreach. Obviously, you know, when I grow businesses globally, is the best way to find a local, big, reputable partner who can obviously introduce you to a new market that you are not aware of, can also share with you their customer database, so you're not starting from scratch. You know, you also can increase your revenue and sales by just having that support on the new market with your strategic partner, right? So most of the time, businesses come together because they understand they can collaborate and increase their revenue from both sides. They also can share the brand identity. Sometimes, for example, brands works with, you're all aware of it, with QILs, right? Like leaders of the markets. Some celebrities collaborate with brands. Why? Because they can just bring to each other additional value. So the audience from the celebrity, it doesn't matter if it's in business or in fashion or whatever, and the brand can gain amazing value and obviously revenue streams for bringing them together. So building trust is also a fantastic benefit, especially if you're new in the market. For example, right now I'm in Dubai, everybody come here to settle business here. Everybody looking for local partners who have a reputation and who are, like, you know, trusted here. So if you're partnering with someone who's already established in this market, everybody who is within that MENA region will trust you and, you know, to do business with you. This is amazing benefit that you can gain. Again, businesses come together, you know, to reduce costs. There are so many collaborations. We're going to talk about many examples later on, how the business is actually efficiently cutting costs by adding value to each other. Exactly what I mentioned is having access to the new segments of your potential clients or clients in the new markets or in new countries or in new regions. By having that strategic partnerships with another business, you will have the access to their data, because every single business collect the data about their own clients, which is also, you know, you have that benefit just by partnering with another business. Fast growth, that's also like very famous for Web3 collaborations. We're going to talk about it later on. When businesses are coming together, like for example, big brands meeting in metaverse, and they have access to 1 million users within literally a day or a week. And this is something that you will probably never achieve on your own without that opportunities. And again, add innovative solutions. We all in Web3, so obviously, I think there is a big movement right now, which you definitely should join, when Web2, classical and industrial, or like big fashion brands or whatever, engaging with a Web3 solutions infrastructure, you know, just to create something completely new way of doing business, you know, disrupting the whole thing. And it's amazing opportunities within that B2B2C frame. So I believe business to business, B2B2C in partnerships is literally by partnering with another business. Literally, you open with one door, you open 1,000 doors for yourself, because every single one of us as a business have, you know, our own network, our own partners, our own clients, And by literally bringing everything on table on that partnership, you have access to that multiple doors in front of you. So I'm gonna give you some framework because everybody requested that. How can I move myself? Let me do it. 1 second. So we have 4 different options. One is you can partnering even with your competitors. Everybody think like it's not possible, but it is actually possible. And big companies like Samsung and Apple, I'll give you like some classical businesses examples. So then you might also adjust it into your Web 3.0. Next slide, I will give you examples in the Web 3.0 market. So Apple and Samsung, one of the biggest competitors, they literally come together and literally, I was so surprised, they partnering in so many ways, one of which is even technology. So Samsung providing supplies this OLED displays panels for the Apple iPhones, which literally, you know, they selling their parts to their competitor. So Apple can obviously, you know, have this advanced displays technology for their own product, but Samsung, you know, having that technology that Apple doesn't need to spend years, you know, to develop, to spend cost, they're just partnering with them and they benefit. Samsung get more sales, Apple get the best display in the world without any efforts, right? So then you have a second option is when you have different customers, but the same value proposition. For example, Nestle and Starbucks, they both have coffees, but Netflix is a multinational food and beverage company, right? Who have all the different stores, you know, e-commerce across the globe. And Starbucks, we all know, but Starbucks can sell their product, which is packaged specifically through the Nestle, which means, you know, they kind of, even though they have same products at the same time, but they have very different model structure. They can benefit by collaborating with each other, while every single person who loves Starbucks going to Nestle shop can buy it there, which is fantastic. Uber and Spotify, again, very fantastic example where everybody use Uber, everybody use Spotify, but then 2 companies which are completely different. They have different customers, different value proposition, but they come together and collaborate on B2B2C level, where Uber application, you know, give a chance to have a Spotify in it. So everybody who use Uber can, you know, enjoy the Spotify while driving. And again, everybody who use Spotify gonna use Uber. So again, they're exchanging their clients. It's adding value to both businesses to make more sales of their products. Fantastic opportunity. Great example of Nestle and Alibaba. For example, Nestle, as we mentioned, is like a beverage company who wants to gain access to the customers in China. Alibaba, one of the largest, you know, Chinese commerce conglomerate. So by partnering with Alibaba, literally you have access to all that audience that Alibaba hold, you know, to sell your product and services, which is again, different customers, different value propositions, but still you benefit from that partnerships because it adds value for both. For Alibaba, they have a new product. For Nestle, they have access on a new market with a reputable, well-known partner in China. So if you have any questions, please send it in the comments. I'm sure Nick can tell me if there is any comments gonna be. So basically B2B2C in partnerships is all about collaboration, compatibility, complementary each other, you know, and co-creation of a new product and solutions on the market. So here is a few samples on Web 3.0, where Consensus, for example, everybody knows a blockchain software company, and JP Morgan is like one of the largest global financial institution. They created partnerships focusing on enterprise-focused blockchain platform. So JP Morgan come with all their network, you know, in financial industry, and Consensus bring together their expertise in blockchain, and they linked it together and created completely new solution where, you know, everybody who trusts JP Morgan will be open to try that product. And because Consensus is also quite large in the blockchain space, but still the credibility that JP Morgan brings together to consensus, opens door for all those financial network, try the consensus blockchain, right? So the same is, for example, Ethereum and UNICEF. I didn't even know that when I prepared this presentation. I was quite surprised at this amazing example when Ethereum blockchain, everybody knows it, right? Partnering with UNICEF, which is United Nations Children Fund, and they launched UNICEF Crypto Fund. So everything which donated to UNICEF Crypto Fund is actually, hold, distribute this all cryptocurrency donations, and it's very transparent and based on an Ethereum blockchain, which is amazing new solutions that are creating like as we speak. There's quite a few others, but you get the point. Let's go to how actually do the strategic partnerships. My own way, I strongly believe that you can make sales more efficient through strategic partnerships rather than sales itself. Why? Because strategic partnerships is all about, as I said, adding value to your partner. You don't need to sell. You don't need to prove that, buy from me, I am the best, all this marketing, which I don't really believe. It's very straightforward. You have to understand your goals. Like, for example, if you think about, I need a strategic partner because, as I said, with all the benefits that we discussed before, you can reach new markets very confidently. You can, increase your sales, you can grow fast, all other things that we discussed before, add innovative solutions, like we just discussed about the Samsung and Apple. You don't need to create everything on your own. You can partnering with somebody who's already have all what you need. So you have to start thinking, what are your goals? I mean, how strategic partnerships can actually help you? What is your agenda for the next, 6 months, 1 year? And then you say, okay, we want to enter new markets. We want to increase our market share. Or usually we all as businesses want to increase sales. We want to increase revenues, and strategic partnerships is a fantastic solution for that. We want to improve efficiency or reduce cost, or we want to gain credibility. So, big brands and big institutional investors, can come in and on board. How we can get that? We can partnering with somebody who they trust, so they can trust us as well, right? So gain innovative tech. All of that is a goals that businesses should have before they decided they need a strategic partner. So step number 1, you should definitely define your goals. Step number 2, you have to create an avatar of your strategic partner. You need to understand why do you need them? What do they actually need to have to add value to your business? And at the same time, you need to understand what value you can bring to them. So that's all about logical thinking of compatibility, how to create this win-win models. It's not about sales, it's about adding value. It's about working together to add something to another so you can win and they can win. Otherwise, strategic partnerships doesn't work. So you define your strategic partner. They will help you to enter a new market or a new industry, or you need a new customer segment, or you need a brand recognition. Why so many businesses partnering with QOLs? Why do they bring all these, amazing advisors on board? Because they need reputation, they need the credibility, they need to have trust that comes from that partnership, right? From the board of directors that you have, from the advisor that you have, for all the big brands that you are partnering with, who you're working with. So, for example, all Web 2.0 market, all the classical businesses that we all know, they all want to go to Web 3.0, but they are really, really struggling to understand how to get there. So for Web 3.0 right now is an amazing opportunity to build that bridges, to come up with an ideas, how can you bring that innovative technology, disruptive, transparent solutions to their existing businesses. So then you can, as I said, co-create, collaborate and co-create something amazingly beautiful for both parties. So when you define your strategic partners, just think through why do you need them and why do they need you? This is very, very important. This is step number 2. Step number 3 is where to find your ideal partners. Everybody's like, going to these conferences and events, and Alex was pretty much straightforward how to make sure that, you've been seen and you make an first impression. I would also confirm completely that never sell on the first meeting. strategic partnerships is nothing about to sell. Try to understand what are the core interests of your strategic partner. What are they looking for? What is important for them? And, at the same time, try to understand how you can, complement each other, how you can, add value to their business. This is about, love, I would say, to your business partners, to your future clients. It's not about just, okay, give me your money and I forget about you next day. So find your ideal partners through conferences. Obviously, you can choose industrial event, like your industry. Some guys in fintech, some guys in GameFi, some guys are, in property tech, medtech, AI, VR. There are so many different events. Choose which you want. I definitely highly recommend to go on like top level events, like, Consensus and Token 2049, everybody there, all the leaders of the market there. So you basically, if you want to meet the top guys and you want to, literally connect with the best, I would highly recommend to go to the top events for sure. It's definitely worth it. Online business directories or social media. Again, every single brand, if they are, we all digitalize right now. So go and find the decision makers, connect with LinkedIn, Twitter, there's Open Bazaar, there's so many other, I'm sure, like, in OpenSea, whatever, it depends which industry are you in, you can connect to your strategic partners, find them, read about them. Professional associations, again, like Web3 foundations or enterprise Ethereum alliances, blockchain for social impact. There's so many different associations in Web3 where like-minded people come together to support each other, discuss those potential collaborations, discuss how they can add value towards each other. And this is super important to, include into your, event list. And I think this is super important, especially if you want to be a leader in your industry. It's better to know all the players, know what they're all doing, what are they, planning to do. I definitely highly recommend to add that to your list. Business incubators and accelerators. That is another, fantastic place to meet your strategic partners, especially if you're a startup, especially like you're in the pre-seed, seed round, and you are just, growing. You can have definitely access to investors, and other like-minded entrepreneurs together. So especially when you are growing together, you can support each other to grow. In Dubai, we have, for example, Hub 71, like one of the most famous one, or 2454 specifically for gamers, famous place to accelerator and incubator. We have Techstars, in San Francisco and in London. So do your online research, find your ideal partners. Who are they? Read about them. So when you find your list of companies who you want to partnering with, who are your strategic partners and why do you need them and why do you believe it's going to be great to connect and collaborate with them? Find the decision makers, because the best way to sell or even make deals in the future is to establish the relationship with the decision makers. That's without saying. So you find those in social media, find them in Twitter, find them in LinkedIn. Most of the time, if you are plan to work with the largest corporations, they're all present in LinkedIn. It's super convenient to find all of them there. Twitter for Web3, like all the leaders of the Web3 market is all there. So please just don't be lazy. Connect, follow, read what they are talking about, read what their interests are, read what solution they are looking for. And if you might have that solution, hear up. This is the opportunity for you to create the strategic partnerships with them. Next, when you connect, learn. That's another which I just already said. Learn everything you can about your strategic partners. Why? Because I don't believe that you should start any conversation by talking about yourself. When you done your homework, when you know who you're talking to, everybody wants to talk to somebody who already knows what you're all about. You have something in common. Like Alex suggests to dress up with something like a rock star that kind of give a person something related to you. I prefer to do my homework. I'm a girl. I'm not going to any of the side events. I'm not drinking alcohol. So I do my homework. I read everything about my strategic partners. I'm reading about all the companies I'm approaching. I do read about their website. I read all their blogs. What are they thinking? What their plans? What are their goals for this year? What are they discussing? What they struggle? Everything. So when I start talking to the decision maker, I can literally start the conversation by using their own data. There is so much content created right now by every single company. Everybody shares what they are doing. So eventually, by doing your homework, reading their blogs, watching their YouTube Q&A sessions, you learn so much about the strategic partners that you understand what they are, what their values, are they actually fit you in or not, what type of conversation you want to build in the future. So you kind of prepared that it doesn't take you by the blue, just meeting randomly. You already know what value you can add to them. And that's going to be an amazing conversation to start with, because everybody wants to sell something that they have. There is so many few people who actually come and say, look, I know you're searching for this, this, and this. I have that solution. Let's have this conversation. And that's going to be a very different discussion. I'm sure about that. So create an offer with a value proposition. So as I just mentioned, when you learn everything you could about your potential strategic partners, that's actually a data, your analysis that you need to create that value proposition, something that they definitely will be willing to discuss with you. And it comes from your homework. So when you know what value you can add to the business, knowing that what you have and what they need are matched together, or maybe you can literally come up with an idea that if you come together, you can co-create something better for both of you. This is another beautiful conversation to have. Match their interest, as I said. Create this compatibility that add value to both businesses. I love win-win models. I love to bring them on board. So help each other to fix issues. It's another beautiful offer. Create opportunities for each other, support each other, work together, and definitely make sure that it works. I know I have to hurry up. So build the relationship, close deals, and enjoy the benefits out of strategic partnerships. So I give you a few examples, and I'm gonna speed up 5 more minutes and I finish. So for example, my clients, STEMI, they are an amazing guys. They are startups from Silicon Valley. They have this gamification plugin marketing solution, which is fantastic for Web 2.0, Web 3.0. I'm partnering them, for example, with Swissborg. Swissborg is like one of the leader on European decentralized wealth management platform. So they have this avatar, talking to potential clients of the Swissborg, creating that, momentum of converting, updating, onboarding clients of Swissborg, and onboarding and converting the clients of Swissborg to increase sales, which add value to the Swissborg, right? So the solution that STEMI created is actually adding value and increase conversion rates for Swissborg, and Swissborg, benefit from that service. Amazing. They link together and enjoy the partnerships. Again, Haken is #1 in cybersecurity. They have amazing list of services, like they do audits for smart contracts, tokenomics, blockchain protocols, and they linked with KuCoin, one of the largest exchanges. So everybody who goes to KuCoin, by doing audit with Haken, they reduce the risks to lose their assets. Everybody benefit. KuCoin makes sure that all their clients are safe, and Haken through KuCoin have access to their client base, right? So again, fantastic collaboration that add value from both sides. I would also mention that, I don't know if you follow or not, but in the last couple of years, we saw so many amazing collaborations of fashion brands, with GameFi, Metaverse, like literally creating that, sharing that client base from big fashion brands and, games, creating that, for example, Ralph Lauren and Fortnite creating that fashion collection, that gamers access through the virtual game. Gucci created that Gucci Town, where they sell the digital goods, another way of bringing amazing large network of the fashion fans to games. And again, gamers have access to the fashion world, which is completely crazy, but it's beautiful. Bulgari literally have this case is super important because the Bulgari, when they partnering with Zepeto, they have more than, I think, like 150 million users literally within a day, which is amazing how two brands just collaborated in a game metaverse, and you reach 150 million in literally one day, which is unbelievable. We know about Coca-Cola launching their NFT collection on open space. There's so many others. So to summarize, I believe the future trends of strategic partnerships using the business to consumer method will definitely have so many variety options to grow. So for example, tokenization of assets in property, commodities, and energies. This is the new wave when traditional assets, traditional companies going to Web 3.0 through tokenization of assets. We're literally creating a new financial market for trading traditional commodities in digital world. Then we have, for example, medtech linking with AI. So many solutions created already. QILs, as I mentioned, collaborating with Web 2.0, Web 3.0, for example. In 2020-21, I was working with Binance when they just launched the fund token. So all that football fans were entering Binance just to buy that fund token. It's again amazing. $100 million users join Binance because of that collaboration. Blockchain as a service right now, like infrastructure, introduced to so many classical businesses and carry on the discussion taking place. Metaverse, VR, IR, in education, in e-commerce, again, carry on happening. So to make a long story short, I believe B2B2C brings endless opportunities for all the strategic partnerships. So I strongly believe that you should try it. There is time now to add value to Web 2.0 market with all the Web 3.0 solutions, and you need to be brave enough to knock the doors and open the door for 1 million doors and have those opportunities for yourself and open opportunities for your strategic partners in the Web 3.0 world where we're disrupting and like having that totally new way of living, doing things, introducing them to that beautiful economy that we're all creating in Web 3.0. I guess that's my speech. Thank you so much for listening. And if you want to find me, please reach me on my LinkedIn. Nick, please tell me if you have any questions to me. I'm happy to answer. If I'm run out of time, I'm happy to finish.
Thank you, Valeriya, for your comprehensive insights on strategic partnerships and the B2B2C model. It's clear that these strategies play a significant role in shaping successful businesses in the Web3 space. Some business executives could definitely undervalue the opportunities of such partnerships, and now you focus them to think out of the box today. We have one question from one of our attendees. Max is asking your opinion on how to create the best impression on the first meeting. Please, super short answer.
Absolutely. As I mentioned, you need to learn, do your homework. I prepare myself when I go to the first meetings. You need to make sure, like, you read the website, you read the blog, you watch the YouTube if there is any YouTube channel for that business or for that leader. Try to understand what their interests are, what they are living, what they are breathing, what they are looking for, who they're partnering with, blah, blah, blah. So when you first meet the person, you already have something to ask because you have the information what their life is all about. So you don't need to say, or this, that. You can ask, oh, by the way, I heard about this partnership that you made, or I heard that you launched that product. It was amazing. Thank you so much for, and that's kind of like, wow, you know about this. Let's talk. Who are you? So they will be more interested to ask who you are. Definitely be very professional. I would not gonna wear something funny to make a first impression memorable. I definitely do the homework to have a valuable conversation and be able to add value to the business. Try to be very clear. What are your strengths? what you can bring on table. So with whoever you talk, they know what are you all about. For example, I'm a global biz dev. I have my agency. I have 100 service providers in 5 different continents, and I have 250 VCs in 5 continents. And I building the platform, now it's agency, where I link businesses with service providers. I build them very fast, very efficient. And I do business to, and introduce businesses with VCs. So we do fundraising so they can, grow and expand globally. So that's it. And this is something that associated with me, and I can sell it to anybody in a very put it the elevator pitch way. So have your elevator pitch, be professional, and definitely learn about the person who you're talking to, especially if you're trying to reach the top leaders in the world. You need to be prepared to know exactly what they do. Don't be stupid and don't ask silly questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Valeriya. So yeah, focus on the contacts. Now let's move to our final speaker for today's webinar. I'm pleased to introduce Samuel Huber, the CEO at LandVault. Samuel will be discussing a fascinating topic: how to sell Web3 to Web2 companies during a bear market. And we're looking forward to absorbing Samuel's insights and applying them to our own entrepreneurial journey. So without further ado, over to you, Samuel. Could you provide some insight into LandVault's journey and its key achievements?
Yeah, thanks a lot, Nick. Great to be here. So we had an interesting journey at LandVault because we came from the Web2 world and eventually pivoted into a Web3 company, which I think gives us some interesting perspective on how to sell to Web2, which is obviously where most users still today are and most of the money is. So I started the company in 2018, initially as a gaming company. We initially provided monetization services for games, mainly a new way for games to advertise. If you've played mobile games, that traditional ads on mobile are pretty terrible. They take over the whole screen. They create this terrible experience. So we had this idea of creating a concept of product placement, where if you have a game, a 3D environment, you can basically sell areas of the game to advertisers, like billboards around the stadium, for example, or maybe the top of the building in a game like GTA that can be branded. They already are branded in the game with fake ads, and you could brand them with real ads, live, real-time ads. So that company took off pretty quickly. We raised about $35 million in 2 rounds in 2 or 3 years, built a team of about 100 people. And at the peak, we were working with hundreds of advertisers, a lot of Fortune 500 companies, from MasterCard to the likes of Uber, National Geographic, Coca-Cola, McDonald's, traditional brands that are trying to advertise to reach their audience, and that felt that doing that in a new way in gaming would be able to target a new audience that are obviously playing games. And eventually, about a year and a half ago, we saw a bigger opportunity in the metaverse, basically, because we saw that the technology that we had, which enabled monetization of 3D worlds, instead of just being targeted to games, could actually be the fabric, the infrastructure for monetizing the metaverse, which we consider as the 3D internet. To us, the metaverse is a mainstream version of gaming. It's basically gaming technologies applied to non-gaming use cases. So we felt that this was an expansion. We rebranded into LandVault. We acquired a company in the process to acquire some metaverse skills to build in various platforms. And from there, we expanded our product portfolio. And today we basically have different pillars, from creation, a tool to quickly build metaverse experiences, a bit like WordPress, but for the metaverse. So you don't need to use Unity or Unreal. You can just drag and drop items. And this is also assisted by AI to build quicker. Then we have a tool to tokenize the content, to bring it on chain, to basically make it Web3. And then we have the monetization stack still. So tools like advertising, e-commerce, analytics, that are modules that you can deploy in your experience. So the idea is to provide this end-to-end platform for creators who have an idea and they want to build an experience that they can then deploy on their own website, monetize, and basically do the whole thing end to end. So so that's basically what we're doing today. And you know, we've been fortunate to work with a lot of huge clients, from, you know, Walmart, MasterCard, Red Bull, L'Oreal, Standard Chartered, a lot of these brands that entered the metaverse last year for the right or wrong reason. A lot of them were following the hype, and, you know, we're building on Roblox or Sandbox or Decentraland or their own custom solutions. We were behind a lot of those activations. We really established ourselves as the go-to solutions for organizations to enter the metaverse. We've done 200 plus projects in 18 months. And the team is now, you know, 120 plus builders, architect, designers that are deployed on various projects. And all of those projects are also resting on top of the tech that we are building that I mentioned, the creation platform, the tokenization, and monetization. And lately, to finish off, we're starting to work more with governments. In France, in the Middle East. I personally live in Dubai. I've moved to Dubai at the beginning of the year because there's a huge rush towards metaverse, virtual worlds. And at the government level, there's literally huge contracts. And, you know, that's, I think I'm excited to talk a little bit about more details about what it takes to basically work with those huge, you know, enterprise in Web2 and sell them a Web3 solution.
Yeah, super interesting. So how has Landvolt managed to secure contracts with large Fortune 500 companies and even governments? What insights did you learn from these experiences?
Yeah, so the main insight is quite simple. It's actually to not sell Web3. You know, Web3, obviously, we're confident that this is the future of the internet, a way to, you know, decentralize and create a new economy for creators and so on. But you also have to realize that this is still a very small bubble. And in the real world, outside of Web3, most people do not understand it. And more importantly, they do not really see the value for them, right? And, you know, sales 101, whatever you sell, it's not really about the product. It's about how does this product benefit the person who wants to buy it at the end of the day. That's really what you should sell. It's not about selling, you know, a phone with the features. It's selling how this phone will be able to improve your life. The fact that you can connect with your friends, the fact that you'll be able to, you know, take amazing pictures. That's value add is what you're really selling when you're in sales. And so it's the same with Web3. You know, selling Web3 is a technology. The technology should be transparent in our view. We've seen a lot of that happening already with, you know, a lot of NFT projects now selling digital collectible as opposed to NFT, because NFT is a technology. It's not a value proposition in itself. So for us, you know, we've basically positioned ourselves as a company that helps brands and governments enter the 3D internet or the metaverse, but really focusing on what it means for them. And really at the end of the day, for whether you're a government or brand, what those guys are looking for, it's basically growing their business or their you know, a specific KPI that they're looking at. So for governments, a lot of times it's about tourism, it's about promoting the country. So you can measure very simple KPIs like number of views or people signing up to something, people buying something. And with the business is the same. Most businesses at the end of the day are looking at increasing sales. So you have to speak their language, and you can still use Web3 components as a way to get to that level faster. And that becomes your unique advantage. So it's more about really showing, you know, how can what we have built, how can our technology help you reach your goal, without talking about Web3 specifically, because things like tokenization, for example, it's not something that resonates with government official. But if you explain that, you know, basically using tokenization, you'll be able to make sure that the IP of the virtual world that you're building will be assigned to you, and it would create a database where everyone can actually check that. So you can ensure that, you know, everyone knows who this asset belongs to, and therefore they can protect their customers this way. That's a tangible value proposition for a government or for a property developer, for example. This is basically what our tokenization protocol does. But the way I explained it was explaining it with words that make sense for them, that are actually solving a need for that customer. So, and that's a general sales lesson, but it's specifically true for Web3, where you have a lot of technical people that are, talking about very technical things. They might not think is technical, but when they try to bridge the gap with Web2, which is where most people live and most of the money is right now, you have to bring it back to fundamentals, business fundamentals. What are these people trying to solve? And most likely, 99.9% of the time, what your customers are trying to solve has nothing to do with Web3. It's a problem that they have. You can use Web3 to solve that, but it's almost irrelevant to them how you are doing it. What they want to know is how they will eventually improve their life or grow their business using the technology. So that's really the way that we've done it. We don't really talk about anything Web3, but we're trying to solve customer problems. And this is how we've been able to capture a large part of the Fortune 500 and now attacking a few governments in the region.
Excellent. To summarize, don't sell features like Web3 technologies or NFTs, sell benefits for brands and opportunities to grow other businesses and their KPIs, sell boosters for their goals, speak their language, talk simple things, not Web3, and tech things. Thank you. It's really important for tech companies and Web3 brands. So could you share key strategies for selling Web3 to Web2 brands, especially during a bear market, that our community members can apply?
Yeah, so I think it's connected to what I was saying before. So the first thing, and again, this can apply to every sales, right? It's not specifically Web3, but it's really understanding, the problem that you're solving, the problem that your customers have. So what are they exactly trying to solve? So in our case, using our example, generally brands are not saying like, oh, we're just desperate to have a metaverse presence. That's not a problem. This is maybe something that they have a mandate to do that. Last year, there were a lot of market pressure to be one of the first in the metaverse. But now that this hype is gone, a lot of that pressure is gone. So we try to go a little bit deeper and ask, why do you need that? And asking why a few times can really help you get down to the real reason. So generally, it comes down to, we're trying to promote our brand or promote our country to the rest of the world. It really comes down to that. It's a marketing exercise that you can solve through a 3D world, because a 3D world gives you, an immersive experience, and it enables you to create things that people will remember that are just a lot more impactful than a video or an image. And so to really crystallize that value proposition at Landvolt, we use the concept of second best thing after reality. So, we work with Dubai government, for example, and obviously the best thing you can do to promote Dubai is to go to Dubai. But if you can't go there, which is the case for most people, right? Most people live outside of Dubai. What is the second best thing to discover the country? Right now, it's a video. Well, we propose a solution that would be better than a video, obviously not as good as the real world, but it would be second best to the real world. And so this is something that they can really relate with, because they understand that right now, the best way for them to promote the country to the rest of the world would be to produce videos, but we can do better than that. And this is why they need to work with Landvolt. This is why they need the metaverse. And this is why eventually we will deploy our protocol, which will tokenize the content. But this is all secondary, right? What we're really solving here is a need that they have to promote the country, to be relevant, to be seen as this very forward-thinking, organization. So that's the main thing. It's really understanding the need of the customer, and then see how you can apply your solution in simple words that they understand, and really keep the technology in the background. This is really, your work. It's not really something that the clients need to know about, or at least it shouldn't be how you lead the conversation.
Excellent. And what's your opinion about the next bull market? So how to sell Web3 to Web2 companies during the bull market, which we hopefully will see next year or two?
Well, during bull market, it's the motivations are different. We've seen that, last year and the year before in the metaverse. The motivations of customers during a bull market are generally driven by other things. Hype is one of them. Fear of missing out is another one. So, we saw a lot of our clients, and I say this, quite openly, that a lot of the clients we had last year, if we were pitching them the same thing today, they would not buy it, right? So a lot of the reasons why people bought what we were selling last year was because of the bull market, 100%. And we have adapted to that, and we've now really tailored the solution to create real utility. But we have clients last year that literally were coming to us on the Monday because on the Friday they had a press release coming out and the CEO was talking about how they were entering the metaverse, but they had done no work and they wanted to do something in 1 week, which obviously is just impossible. So you can see how the thinking of the clients in the bull market is almost backwards. It's how are we going to announce it? How is it going to make us look like in front of the rest of the market? And then let's think about utility. Let's see what we can cram to actually make it work. Whereas right now, there's no time pressure for most clients, right? They see the metaverse as this next phase of the internet, but that will pan out over 5 or 10 years. So it's really about learnings. It's about making their first steps. It's not really about rushing to do something at all costs. So the project that we have this year are a lot longer, a lot more thought out, a lot more strategic, as opposed to just jumping on the bandwagon. So the motivations are very different. So I would say, obviously as a business in the bull market, you're still trying to maximize your revenue. So you can really play that fear of missing out factor. You can, reinforce that vision, right? That brands have to get started so you can book more business, but you should still deliver solutions that create long-term utility so that when the bull market is over, your clients are not canceling your subscription, or they can still work with you. So this is what we've done. We have a lot of repeat, customers that have kept building, not in the same way. We've seen platforms like Sandbox, Decentraland that lost some steam. So now we're building, standalone activations that can be deployed on their own website. But at least, the client, the brand was trusting our judgment and our solution. And so when even when the bull market was not on anymore, we were able to kind of upsell them to towards something else. So it's important to maintain that integrity even in bull markets when it can be easy to just grab money at all costs. And when the bull market is over, this is where you really need to start thinking about the utility that you are creating for your client.
Thank you. Great way to conclude our webinar. Samuel, thank you for your insightful discussion on how to sell Web3 to Web2 companies. Your strategies and experiences undoubtedly gave us a different perspective and more nuanced and understanding of the dynamics at play. I'm confident that we've all gained invaluable knowledge today that we can apply in our own ventures. A huge thank you to Samuel Huber and all our speakers today. Your expertise has greatly enriched our learning experience. Thank you. Thanks to all attendees for your active participation and questions in today's webinar. It's been a great session filled with insightful discussions and valuable learnings. We hope you find it as enriching and informative as we did. We'll be sharing all the materials and guides from today's presentations soon, so stay tuned for that. These resources will help you revisit the topics we covered today and implement the strategies discussed. Once again, thank you for being a part of this webinar. We look forward to seeing you at our next event. Until then, keep growing and innovating. Goodbye.